Ooh, okay. Hello everybody out there in the bookverse, it's Stephanie, and today I'm going to be talking about my TBR for the month of August, which is also my TBR for the NEWTs Year 3. If you're new to my channel, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you'd like to see more from me, definitely hit the subscribe button down below and the bell icon to be notified when I post new content. But I really want to start talking about the books on this list. I am really excited to be able to complete the NEWTs this year. This is a readathon that has been hosted by G over at Book Roast. It is kind of a Harry Potter themed readathon, and it goes along with the owls and the NEWTs tests that they take at Hogwarts. Now, she has decided that with all the things going on with J.K. Rowling, she is not going to be continuing on with this readathon, but she does know that there are some of us out there like me who are completionists, and since I started the owls, I really need to finish the NEWTs just for like my own sanity. And so I am going to be completing the NEWTs this year, and then moving forward, the readathon that she hosts is just going to be kind of a magical school readathon. And I'm really excited for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun because G puts a lot of effort into her readathons. And so I am thinking that we are going to have a lot of fun with this readathon going forward, but I am kind of determined to complete my owls and NEWTs because I have never done that before at the time of the actual readathons. So jumping into the books, I have decided to go for the career of spellmaker, and for that I need to receive certain grades in certain subjects. So I'll tell you about them as I go along. And the first subject is ancient runes, and for that I need to receive an O. So to receive an O, I need to get an A, E, and O book completed to get my O. O stands for outstanding, A stands for acceptable, E stands for exceeds expectations, just for future reference. So the A prompt for Ancient Ruins is a author whose name starts with B. That can either be first or last name, and I decided to go with Brandon Sanderson, probably no shocker to any of you guys, but I'm going to be reading Words of Radiance. This is the second book in his Stormlight archive. It is a high fantasy series, and it is amazing. I highly recommend it. I'm not going to get into what these books are about a whole ton in this video because it would just take too long, but this series is so good. I know I've only read the first one, but I know I'm going to absolutely love it. So this is going to be fulfilling my A for Ancient Ruins. Runes, not ruins. For E, we need to read a classic, and for that one I'm going with The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is a kind of middle grade classic that is a prequel to his Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I love it. I am so glad that I got to choose a fantasy classic because I like fantasy the most. It's my favorite, everybody knows that, but I'm really excited to be able to reread this book. This is going to be a reread for me because I have read this before. And for O, the prompt is to read a romance, and for that I am going to be reading Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. This is kind of the Edwards side of the Twilight series retelling book that is coming out in August. I am pretty excited for it just because of the nostalgia that is around Twilight for me. I read them growing up and they were a huge part of my childhood, and I loved them when I was younger. Now that I'm older, of course, I see the imperfections in that series, but it was so much fun when I was younger, and I just want to read it for nostalgia's sake. The next class that I need to fulfill prompts for is arithmancy, and for that I just need to receive an E. So the prompt for A is to read a nonfiction, and for that I am going to be going with The Theory of Everything by Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking is just one of the greatest scientists of our time. He's a theoretical physicist, I'm pretty sure, and so I'm just really interested to read this book, see what he has to say. I really am not drawn to it for any particular reason. I just think it would be interesting and something fun for me to read. The next prompt is for my E, and that is to read a book that ends in an uneven number. And for that I am going to go with Of Blood and Bone by Nora Roberts. This is the second book in her trilogy. That the first book is Year 1. I don't know if it has a name. The Chronicles of the One trilogy, and this is the second book in that series, and it has 453 pages, and so we are at an odd number. This is kind of an apocalyptic paranormal fantasy series, and I really enjoyed the first one, so I am very interested in jumping into this second one. It's kind of a series that I haven't heard anyone talk about. I just kind of saw the third book at the bookstore and thought it was gorgeous, and so I decided to jump into it. So I'm really excited that I did end up reading this series because it's not one I probably would have read otherwise. The next subject that I'm going to be sitting exams for is astronomy, and for that one I need to receive an exceeds expectations. The prompt to get an A is to read a book with stars on the cover or in the title, and for this one I'm kind of stretching it a little bit, but I'm going with A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is the third book in her ACOTAR series, and her crown on the back has stars on it. So this is the one that I'm going for. I know I have other ones that have star in it, but they had to fit other prompts. You'll see them coming along, but I needed to do it this way. I'm sorry. This is kind of a fantasy romance series, and it is super popular. Sarah J. Maas is an extremely popular author here on BookTube, and I have only read the first one so far, but I am currently reading the second one, and so I am excited to get to the third one next month for my NEWTs. The prompt for E is to read a sci-fi, and for that I went with Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. This is the sequel to Skyward, which I read earlier this year and really loved. This is his young adult sci-fi series, and it follows a girl named Spencer who wants to be a pilot, and she's on this planet that is not Earth, and they are trying to kind of figure out how to save their planet from these kind of invaders that come down and to attack them every once in a while, and she is really interested in getting off the planet and being able to explore the universe and see the stars because she's very drawn to that. So it's fun, it's a good series, and I'm really excited to get into the second one, even though I've heard mixed things about it. The next subject that I need to complete is charms, and for that I need to receive an E and exceeds expectations. And the first prompt is to read a humorous book. And I feel like I am also kind of pushing this a little bit because I am going to be reading Sword of Destiny. This is the second short story collection prequel books to the Witcher series. And I decided to put it on humorous books because I think that the banter between Geralt and Dandelion is absolutely hilarious, and I love it, and they are so funny together. So if they are together a lot in this next book, I think it's going to be a very humorous book. If not, I'm kind of cheating on this prompt, but it is gonna work because that is what I have decided to do. The prompt for E is to read a book set in winter, and for this I am reading A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. I actually am not 100% positive if this is set in winter, but since it is the fourth book in a series, I don't want to read too much about it so I don't get spoilers for the other two books that I haven't read yet. But it says A Court of Frost, so I'm guessing this might be set in the winter court. I am not 100% positive. This is another one. Charms, apparently I could just botch this whole subject. We'll see, but this one is going to be my book that fulfills my charms E, hopefully. The next subject that I need to complete is History of Magic, and for this one I need to receive an outstanding or an O. So the prompt for A is going to be to read a historical fiction, and for that I'm going with Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the sequel to Stalking Jack the Ripper, which I read quite a long time ago, and so it is a good thing that I am now starting to jump back into the series before I forget everything. This is kind of a historical YA fiction that follows a girl who's really interested in like performing autopsies and being a criminal investigator in that type of way by like reading bodies and figuring out how they died. And I liked the first one okay, so I'm going to be continuing on with the second one because I'm hoping that the things that I didn't like about the first one are not going to be present here in the second one. So I am excited to continue on with this series, and hopefully I can remember most of the things that happened in the first one because it didn't really strike me that hard, so I don't remember it as well as maybe I should, but I am not going to do a reread of it. So we're just going to jump in with this one. The prompt for E is a book that has a mostly black cover, and for this one I have decided I'm going to read Star Daughter. This is not released yet. It's going to be coming out next month in August, so I am going to be hopefully getting my hands on it as soon as I can after it's released so I can read it for these prompts. It is a YA fantasy about a girl who's half star, which just sounds absolutely fascinating to me, and I think the cover is gorgeous. It is so beautiful, and this is one of my most anticipated releases of this year, so I'm really excited to be able to fit it in to my TBR for the NEWTs. And the prompt for O is a book that was recommended by someone who is older than you, and this one I kind of cheated on. I'm gonna be honest, I stretched this really far because I wanted to fit this book onto my TBR, and that is The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna, and I just want to read this book so bad. Oh, sorry. The reflectiveness is kind of messing with the light apparently, but this book is absolutely gorgeous. Like, look at the cover. This is beautiful. I'm so excited for it. This is an arc of the book, and I got it in my fairy loot box, and as soon as I saw it in the box, I knew that I had to fit this onto my TBR as soon as possible because it looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm so excited for it. I have no idea what it's about, but I don't know. I feel drawn to this book. I want to fit it on there. So the way that I fit it on was I went onto Goodreads, scanned through until I found a picture of someone that I thought looked older than me who said that this book was good and recommended it. So that is how I'm fitting this book onto my TBR, and I am not sorry. And the last class that I need to complete for my NEWTs 2020 is Transfiguration. I only need to receive an A in that one, and the prompt for A is to read a book that has an animal on the cover. And for that, I went with A Reaper at the Gates by Sabatahir. There is an animal, and this is the This is the third book in the Ember in the Ashes series. I am really excited to complete this series. I'm trying in this readathon to kind of complete some series or read sequels, so I am continuing on with series and not just starting a billion new ones. This is a YA fantasy series, and I really enjoyed An Ember in the Ashes. It was a lot of fun. I liked the characters, I liked the writing style, I liked the world, and so I have high hopes. I haven't actually read the second one yet. I'm planning to read it during the reading rush, which is next week. So hopefully this one is going to be able to be read if I can finish the second one during the reading rush. And that is all the books that I am planning to read for my NEWTs 2020. I am really excited for this. I'm excited to be able to complete it and kind of complete that goal that I had set for myself. And I'm also excited to see what G does with this readathon going forward, see what she comes up with, because she's extremely creative and fun. And I really appreciate all the work that she puts into these readathons. So if you are going to be completing your NEWTs in August, let me know down below what you're planning to read. If you have a video announcement, link it down below so I can check it out. And as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more from me, hit the subscribe button down below and the bell icon, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.